She's not silent because she's strong, but because you made her feel invisible. 1. The silence you misunderstood. There's a kind of silence that isn't strength, but surrender. A silence not born of resilience, but of repeated erasure. She didn't stop talking because she had nothing to say. She stopped talking because you stopped listening. She stopped reaching out because you kept letting go. And you called her strong, not realizing she had just given up trying to be seen. This silence, the one you praised for its grace, its elegance, was not a sign of power. It was a soft, aching echo of invisibility. 2. She once had a voice before. She became the quiet one. She laughed freely. She questioned boldly. She shared her thoughts, even the messy, unpolished ones, believing that her voice deserved space, until one day it didn't. Maybe it was when she was interrupted one too many times. Maybe it was when her feelings were called too much. Maybe it was when her kindness was mistaken for weakness. Her vulnerability mocked rather than met with care. Little by little, she withdrew. Not because she stopped caring, but because she learned her words didn't land the way she hoped. They weren't safe here. Point 3. The weight of being overlooked. There's a grief in being invisible. It's not loud. It doesn't shout. It simmers beneath everyday exchanges. When you're in a room and no one meets your eyes. When you speak and the conversation shifts as if you hadn't. When your ideas are dismissed until someone else says them. When your presence feels like background noise. That's the kind of silence she lives with. Not chosen, not powerful, but painful, lonely, exhausting for the mask of strength society loves calling women strong, especially when they're /ly, when they're silent. But silence is not always a badge of honor. Sometimes it's a defense. It's a strategy, a last attempt at survival in a world that asked her to be less just to be loved. She stopped explaining herself, not because she's above it, but because she's tired of justifying her worth. She carries the pain in her spine, the disappointment in her chest, and calls it grace, because the world doesn't give her space to call it hurt. She laughs when she wants to cry. She supports others while secretly unraveling. She's the first to offer help and the last to be asked, "Are you okay?" 5. When the world refuses to see her, a woman becomes invisible, not because she disappears, but because the world refuses to see her. It happens slowly. When people stop looking beyond her surface, when her worth is tied only to her appearance, her usefulness, or her silence. She's the one who remembers birthdays, but whose own goes unnoticed. She's the friend who shows up but is rarely checked on. And in that neglect, she learns to fold herself smaller, to take up less space, to feel less, need less, exist. Quietly. 6. What it cost her to be the quiet one. Thea told her she was elegant in her quiet. But they didn't see what it cost her. She had stories she never told. Dreams she buried, opinions she silenced. Because speaking up often meant conflict. It meant being labeled difficult, emotional, or too intense. So she bit her tongue. She smiled through the sting. She wore her silence like a perfectly tailored dress, but it never truly fit. Point 7. Her love was loud until it was in shoes once loved loudly. She texted first. She asked how your day was. She remembered the little things. She gave compliments like gifts, hoping they'd be received with the same tenderness. But they weren't, not always. Eventually, she grew quieter. Not because she stopped loving, but because she felt like her love went unheard. The silence you hear now, it's the sound of her love pulling back, not out of spite, but self-protection. 8. How you made her feel invisible. You may not have meant to, but intent doesn't erase impact. Every ignored message, every forgotten promise, every time you listened with half an ear, it taught her that her voice didn't matter. And when she finally stopped speaking, you assumed she was strong. You never thought she felt erased. You didn't notice how her eyes dimmed, how her sentences shortened, how her laughter faded. You didn't notice And that is why she's silent now. 9. What she needed instead, she didn't need you to fix her. She didn't need grand gestures. She needed to be seen fully, softly, without judgment. She needed someone to ask, "What aren't you saying?" and stay long enough to hear the answer. She needed her tears to be safe, her silence to be questioned, not praised. She needed presence. Not performance. Point 10. The pain of being misunderstood. Few things hurt more than being misunderstood in your silence. To have your quiet mistaken for calm. Your withdrawal mistaken for maturity. Your numbness mistaken for strength. Because on the inside, screaming. But no one hears it, so she folds deeper into herself, hoping someone, just one person, will notice the fading. Point 11. How she slowly rebuilt herself in the shadows of that silence. She began to rebuild. She read books that made her feel less alone. She wrote letters she'd never send. She cried alone in bathrooms under stars into her pillow, and over time, started remembering the sound of her own voice. It was shaky, but it was hers. She spoke again, not to be understood, but to reclaim herself. Point 12. The new voice inside her now. When she speaks not for you, but for her. She doesn't need permission to take up space. She doesn't wait for you to ask. Her silence no longer masks pain. It holds wisdom. It holds boundaries. It holds a history she's still healing from. She is no longer silent because you made her invisible. She's silent now when she chooses to be, because she sees herself. And that's the difference. Point 13. To those who made her feel small, this is not a letter of blame, but it is one of truth. You hurt her. Not with fists, but with forgetfulness, with absence. With the way you made her feel like background noise in stories where she gave you the spotlight. You told her she was too much, so she became less. But in becoming less, she lost herself. And now she's finding her way back, not because of you, but in spite of you. Point 14. If you're her reading this right now, if this is you, if you've been silenced by years of not being heard, please know this. You are not invisible. Your pain is valid. Your voice matters even if it shakes. Even if no one claps, your silence is sacred. But your truth deserves sound. Speak, cry, roar, or whisper. But for you, not for those who refuse to listen. Point 15. For the ones who want to truly see her. If you want to truly see her, don't wait for her to speak. Notice. Notice how she dims her light in crowded rooms. Notice how she hesitates before saying, "I'm fine." Notice how she clings to the smallest kindness, like it's oxygen. And when you notice, stay long enough to prove that your attention isn't fleeting. Stay long enough to earn back her trust, because the quietest women often hold the loudest stories. 16. The power she found in herself in the end. She didn't need the world to see her. She needed to see herself. And now she does, in her reflection, in her solitude, in the way she no longer begs to be chosen. She's not silent because she's broken. She's not silent because she's strong. She's silent because she's finally listening to herself. And that voice, though soft, is finally enough. 17. A quiet call to you there. As someone in your life right now who has gone quiet, not because she's okay, but because she's trying to be. Look again. Lean in. Ask the second question. Be the reason she feels seen again. And if you're her, if these words echo in the hollows of your heart, come home to your voice. You were never meant to fade. 18 final words from Awaken Mindset. Dear soul, if her silence ever reminded you of someone, or maybe it reminded you of yourself, then this is for you. You are not alone in your ache. You are not too much. And you deserve to be heard, even in your quietest hour. If this message resonated with you, we invite you to experience the full video on our channel, where voices like hers, like yours, are honored, not overlooked. Your voice matters. Let's awaken together. Watch the full video on Awaken Mindset. Subscribe. Share and stand with us because silence shouldn't be the only thing that's heard.